Hello and welcome back to Movie Recap Time. Today, we will be recapping a 2008 post-apocalypse action movie, titled I Am Legend. But before we start, if you enjoy our recaps, please subscribe as it helps us enormously. Enjoy! In an interview with Dr. Alice Crispin, a doctor who had genetically re-engineered the measles virus into a cure for cancer, they had used the cure on 10,009 sick cancer patients, and they had been successful with it. A few years later, Robert Neville, a U.S. Army virologist, was the only survivor of a Darkseekers outbreak caused by the cure for cancer. The cure with a high success rate had turned the ones that could be cured into Darkseekers. The Darkseekers, in return, killed the living ones for food. Robert was walking in New York City alone, the road was silent, and there were only animals. He sought to kill some before his watch rang, as that would mean he would have to go into hiding before the Darkseekers come out at night. When he got home, he cooked for his dog Sam. He refused to eat vegetables, and he forced Sam. After they both ate, he took Sam to the bathtub to bathe him. While bathing Sam, he told him that he would force him to eat twice the vegetable the next night because he didn't eat his vegetables tonight. While he was bathing Sam, his watch rang, and he became lost in thought. Sam brought him back by barking. After which, he closed all the windows in the house to prevent Darkseekers from attacking him at night and slept in the bathtub with Sam. He remembered coming home to meet his wife Zoe and his daughter Marley, asking them to travel off-state because the cancer cure had turned its unsuccessful victims into Darkseekers, which attacked humans. The president announced that New York City should be closed, and Robert told his wife he would wait behind to find a cure. When he woke up the following day, he exercised with Sam and proceeded to the lab. He wrote his reports about the animals he had experimented with. While some caught the virus, some died, but only one could fight the virus. He went to a store, where he spoke to some mannequins. He asked Fred, the mannequin who serves as his cashier, about a female mannequin around as he laughed and bought the goods he needed. He went to the bush to fetch vegetables for himself and Sam. He had announced that anyone alive should meet him at a designated location, so he stayed there and played golf while waiting for any human that was still alive. Sam chased a deer, and he followed him. The deer ran into a dark house, and Sam followed the deer. Robert shouted to call Sam's attention, to no avail. He entered the dark room and saw the deer dead, and Sam was hiding. Some Darkseekers attacked them. The two of them escaped, but the Darkseekers were destroyed by sunlight. He decided to set a trap for the Darkseekers. He used his blood to lure them out and waited for a Darkseeker to fall for his trap. A female Darkseeker fell victim. He incapacitated the Darkseeker, took it home for testing. He used the cure he had been working with the rats on the female Darkseeker, but it was an unsuccessful attempt. He gave his report about the unsuccessful attempt and stated that he still had immunity against the airborne diseases, but he couldn't transfer his immunity to anyone. He remembered the day he was trying to take his family off the town. They were stopped by the police, who asked them all to leave their car and walk. He carried Marley as Zoe walked with him. They got to the military checkpoint alongside everybody that wanted to survive. The military officer had a device to check if a person was free to leave or not, as they scanned Robert and Marley, and they passed the scan. But when they scanned Zoe, it failed. The soldiers refused to scan her again. Beside them was a mother crying for the soldiers to rescan her daughter. Robert insisted he rescanned his wife. The soldier took his command and scanned her again. She passed the scan, and they were taken to the military plane. Zoe wished her husband goodbye as she prayed and kissed him. Robert told Marley he would kill the monsters as the plane was about to move. Marley gave her father Sam and asked that Sam protects her father. Robert woke up the following day, went through his daily routine, visited the lab to see how the virus reacted in the rats and wrote his reports down. He set off to the designated location. He announced survivors should meet him. On his way, he saw Fred, one of the mannequins he plays with at the store. He was shocked as to why Fred was outside. He hurriedly stopped the car, shouted at Fred, and asked that Fred tell him if he was human. He shot Fred. It was as though Fred was breathing, so he went nearer. He didn't know the Darkseekers had set a trap for him just the same way he set a trap for them. The trap caught his legs. He was there till night. When he woke up he was hanging upside down. He was able to cut the rope off his leg, but he fell into the water, causing his own knife to stab him in the leg. He survived and asked Sam to run to the car. Some Darkseeker dogs attacked them. Robert struggled to kill one of them without getting bitten, but one of the Darkseeker dogs bit Sam. Robert carried Sam home. He took him to his lab and tried to check him. Sam had caught the virus, and he attacked Robert. In tears, Robert sang as he strangled his dog. He was distraught as Sam had been the only one around him since the outbreak. The following day, he was still distraught by the passing of Sam. He visited the store and talked to the female mannequin. and he complained to the mannequin. When the sun started setting, Robert angrily took his car in revenge and went to the Darkseekers' colony. They all came out to attack him. He hit them with his car as vigorously as he could, but it was not enough. There were so many that he couldn't handle them. They jumped on his car, brought down a light pole on the car, and he was on the verge of falling off the bridge into the river. One of the Darkseekers attacked him. Suddenly, someone shunned light towards him, and the Darkseekers were scared away. The person who saved him asked for his home, and he described it. While he collapsed, he remembered that after he saw his wife off, bombs were sent to the bridge and thereby caused the helicopter to crash. His family died due to the helicopter crash. After that, he became Sam's best friend. When he woke up, he met the people who saved him in his house, a female and a child. He took his gun to attack them, but when he knew they meant no harm, he dropped the gun. Anna introduced herself and introduced him to Ethan. They prepared bacon, and they sat down to eat. Anna said they came from Maryland after listening to his radio broadcast. They stayed all day at the designated location, so they saw him and saved him. She told him they were traveling to a survival camp in Vermont. Robert said he kept his bacon for a specific purpose, and Anna shouldn't have prepared his bacon. He became violent. Anna removed her gun to protect herself, and Ethan held a knife. He apologized to them, left the dining table, and went upstairs. He was woken up by the voice of the cartoon Ethan was watching. He repeated the wording of the video after each other. Anna looked at him and said he had forgotten how it was to live with humans. Anna told him they were saved from the outbreak by a Red Cross evacuation from Sao Paulo, but the ship was attacked. There were 5 people on the ship that were immune, but Darkseekers had attacked the others. Anna asked him once again to let them go to Vermont. Robert insisted he was not leaving, as New York is Site 0, and it was his site. They both went out to where Robert was attacked earlier. Robert said the trap set was not the work of a Darkseekers, as Darkseekers aren't as smart as humans, and they can't create something like that. They both went to the pool to catch fish. Ethan swam in the pool, and when they got home, Robert took Anna to his lab and showed her the female Darkseekers he kept on the ice. She asked if the treatment could cure the Darkseekers, and he told her the treatment might most likely kill the Darkseekers. Anna looked at the pictures of the other Darkseekers he had experimented with and asked him if all the Darkseekers he experimented with had died. Robert replied positively. Robert came down and carried Ethan to Marley's room. When Anna saw her picture, she asked her name and commented she was pretty. Robert told her they named Marley after Bob Marley, and Anna said she didn't know Bob, so Robert showed her one of Bob's albums. While they were closing the windows, Anna tried to convince Robert to follow them to Vermont. Robert asked how she was sure there was a survival camp in Vermont, but she insisted she was confident and begged him to follow her. She told him God told her there was a survivor camp. Robert laughed. She asked him where was her God when 99% of the world died, and 1% of the world was immune, and the Darkseekers turned the immune ones into food, thereby killing everyone. Anna insisted God exists and God is trying to talk to us one way or the other. She said it was God who told her to switch on the radio. It was God who told her to come to the location. It was God who made her save him from the Darkseekers no matter how much he declines it. God is speaking to them. While they were talking, they heard roaring sounds outside. The Darkseekers had followed them home, and Robert detonated bombs in the cars outside their house to stop them, but some of the Darkseekers survived. One of them attacked Robert while Anna went to check out Ethan in the room. Robert fought with a Darkseeker, then went to meet Anna in another room. A Darkseeker was destroying the room's ceiling so the others would get access. Robert killed the Darkseeker and took Anna and Ethan to the lab. They locked themselves with the female Darkseeker in the inner side of the lab. Anna saw the experiment was successful. All the Darkseekers roared outside, waiting for them. The Alpha Darkseeker smashed himself on the glass in an attempt to break it. This was unsuccessful. He used his hands to draw an image of a butterfly. Robert saw the butterfly sign on the female Darkseekers and figured the Alpha Darkseeker wanted the female Darkseeker, so he dropped his gun. He took the female Darkseekers out to the Alpha man outside, seeing how the 2 Darkseekers hugged and were happy seeing themselves. He apologized to the Alpha Darkseekers, and the Darkseekers left him. After they left, he looked at the pictures of the Darkseekers he had used as experiments. He realized that killing Darkseekers had made him a monster. 2. He decided to abandon his research in hopes of finding the survival camp. He traveled to Vermont with Anna and Ethan. As they drove off, Anna gave meaningful statements in a voiceover and ended the movie with the words, "You are not alone." Thank you for watching the recap. Please remember to subscribe to our channel so you will get notified when we post the next recap. If you enjoyed the recap, we will have a link to buy this movie in the description. See you next time.